Today on Locked On Huskers, we're talking quarterbacks.
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, gang, thanks for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Greatly appreciate that. Your support has been fantastic, and the interactions have been great. Thanks for the input and for directing the conversation a little bit. You folks have reached out and told us what you want us to talk about, so that's what we're going to do. I want to thank the folks from FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook, the official sportsbook of the National Basketball Association. If you want, go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Download the app. It's easy, it's safe, secure. It'll hook you up, give you the hookup, and get your business right for the Final Four. It's a big weekend. Let's not go into it uninformed. Let's be prepared and let's handle our business. I wanted to talk about quarterbacks, but in order to do that, I got to set the table a little bit with what Matt Rhule has talked about in an interesting statement that he does not have a depth chart. He's not working from a depth chart. He does not have a depth chart. His approach is this is install. This is teaching. This is the teaching phase. And then the high repetition phase. And he wants everybody to have equal opportunity, same number of reps at everything. Now, they are going to go live on Saturday. To what degree, not real sure. We'll get more information about that pretty soon. But in the meanwhile, what we know is that there will be a little live contact on Saturday. Not a full scrimmage sort of deal, but there'll be live contact. But in the practicing and the practices that have happened, what we've figured out is that Matt Rhule likes his quarterback room. He likes the talent in the room. Now, he's not evaluating your execution quite yet. Talent and skill, right, that you're still learning. One, what Matt Rhule wants. Two, what Marcus Satterfield wants from his quarterbacks, how he wants them to play, how he wants, what skills is he gonna highlight, but also finding out what the guys have in their utility bag as we speak, and learning the personalities of this group of quarterbacks is important. Now, thing to note that the returning starter, Casey Thompson, we were informed today that he will be welcomed back into practice with some light throwing, short throws, short toss. It won't be, any big arm type of situation. I don't know what that means fast forward to April 22nd, but we'll cover that and follow that over the course of the next few weeks of practice leading up to April 22nd. I would imagine if he's short tossing now. Of all the quarterbacks that they have the most film, they have the most tape, they have the most resume from Casey Thompson. Now, that does not exclude Casey from it, but with the injury factor being a part of it, I'm not sure if he's going to get the full exposure that everybody else is going to get. So that sets the table that there is no depth chart, there is no number one, there's no QB1 currently. Now, I guarantee you that Matt Rhule and Satterfield have some idea about, in their minds, where the quarterbacks rank. But in a 6 scholarship quarterback room with 7 legitimate quarterbacks in play and getting a ton of reps, equal reps, as a matter of fact, then that room will tell you a lot about what we can expect in the spring game, and it'll tell you what we can expect going forward from April 23rd until summer camp, where you really get the work done, where the installs can be done, the talent evaluations can be done, the skill evaluations can be done, and then to find out what the aptitude is for what Satterfield wants to do. Who does those things the best? Who does what the best? And it depends on every offensive coordinator, quarterback coach has his top priority list of throws that he needs for his quarterback to make, for his offense to run and be effective the way that he wants. Now, he has an idea of 40 or 50 plays that he wants to highlight and that they have to be good at come opening day. But within that, not everybody in that quarterback room has the same skill set. They all have different levels of arm talent. They all have different levels of playbook aptitude. They also have different levels of execution skill. And then there is the leadership thing that has to be in play. And imagine that it's pretty difficult to lead a room when there's no depth chart to that room and there's new coaches, right? So everybody is learning. The returning factor is only in comfort with the facility and getting around campus and, where you can find the food that's healthy for you and good for you. But when it comes to what Satterfield wants, no, they're all at rocket zero trying to figure out what it is that this quarterback coach wants, that this coordinator wants, that this head coach wants. And I guarantee you that a lot of that will be based on who does these things the best. Who can they count on? Who can they rely on? Who can they trust? And at this point, he doesn't know. He doesn't have all the answers. He has some answers because he's seen them and with enough high repetition over the course of the last couple of weeks. But from his own mouth, there's no depth chart to work from, and that they're not really being critical because they know that the install is legit. It's a legitimate factor. It is a time consumer. It is an energy monster. It is a humbler. They're learning. Again, they're just learning, okay, what are the individual drills? Can we get through the stretches? What time of day, dealing with weather? As we talk about these quarterbacks coming up, there's a deep, deep, deep version of this thing where each quarterback is having to deal with its own thing. Logan Smothers dealing with recovery. Jeff Sims is getting used to the weather and those sort of things. Chubba's got to learn a new offense, new cadence, new verbiage along the way. Same for Torres, same for Haarberg. This whole thing, each quarterback in the room, that's why I wanted to break it down a little bit and give you a little of what I've seen. Now, it's not absolute because this thing is fluid and it will change from now until April 22nd, and then again from April 22nd to summer camp, and then from summer camp to opening day. But we're going to talk a little bit about the way they're moving currently and what I've seen from them. Yeah, we'll do that. Don't go anywhere. When we come back to Locked On Huskers, we're going to get into that quarterback room name by name, and I'll give you a little bit about what my eyes have seen and a little bit of what my ears have heard. That's what I have for you when you come back to Locked On. Welcome back, gang. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Your second should be Locked On College Basketball Bracket Breakdown. Again, Final Four time for the men and the women. There's lots going on. There's a lot. You want your brackets and you want your betting to be informed. Just give yourself the opportunity to have a place that you can go where folks in the know, coaches, players, etc., can give you the kind of analysis that you're going to need to be smart about how you watch these games coming up. So Locked On College Basketball Bracket Breakdown on YouTube or however else you consume your podcast each and every single day. Thank you once again. Jump down and hit the subscribe button. The numbers are going up, up, up. We're going to stay consistent with the content so that, you can count on it. But if you subscribe, it comes to you and you don't have to come looking for it or be fed through the analytics. It's simply the matrix won't have to deliver it to you. You'll get it because it's something you want to see and you want to hear. So in the quarterback's room, from what we know, and again, in watching 45 minutes, 3 times, 4 times over the course of a couple of weeks, and then watching what happens away from the cameras, and then listening to what's being said in front of microphones later on. Now, you get kind of what the program wants you to get on social media. But at practice, again, with different jersey types and different space, you see Okay, Casey Thompson is over with the yellow jerseys, and they're in the, hey, we're restricted. We've got some issue that we need to deal with, and watching them move is different. It's different. You pay attention to the fact that there is a definitive difference in the health status of these quarterbacks. Casey Thompson, Logan Smothers are both yellow jerseys, so they're not in full. They're not. Logan's not throwing much at all. Casey's doing short toss, but again, he was just recently cleared to actually do some short toss and some short throws. But he's working on the verbiage. So as they go through their collective drills as a group, he's trying to get the verbiage right. Like he really wants to get the verbiage right. He's trying to make sure that the cadence is similar. He's picking up the reads that would be important for whatever play simulation that they're going through. And he goes all the way through and he gets the footwork right, he gets the ball handling right, and then he goes through and he's not making a big throw, so he's not throwing fade routes, he's not doing that sort of thing. Literally, he's throwing it back to Logan Smothers, who's 8 yards away. But then it gets interesting that you're watching. So those are two quarterbacks that, in truth, started the majority of the games last year. Like those are your two guys. The third guy is Chuba Purdy, and Chuba, who's recovering from an injury as well, but he's cleared to put in work. And Chuba looks more confident now than he did at end of season a year ago. Now, even with the new system and the new cadence and the new verbiage and the new route combinations, Chuba is moving with a different level of comfort than he looked on the field. Now, that could have also been said last year before he was thrown into the games, and it looked like the game was too fast. It looked like the players were too big and too strong. But he looks like he is settled into being in the fight for the job. Like he's not going to concede this job. I can say that freely, that Logan Smothers and Casey Thompson are not conceding anything to anybody. This is going to be a battle. And why I think it's going to be a battle is because even with Chuba looking impressive, he's still not the most impressive quarterback in the room currently. And for different reasons, and I'll surprise some folks with saying this. Jeff Sims moves like a Sunday quarterback. I saw him at Georgia Tech, and he looked fit. He looked athletic. But his muscle mass now fits him differently than it did at Georgia Tech. He looks like he has been in the gym and has been carving away at his body, and it now looks like a grown man, grown quarterback, physical, 6'4", 220 pounds. 6'4", 220. And it looks like 220 at the quarterback. So when he stands behind center, you go, okay, all right, even amongst linemen, he looks in control and he looks fit and firm. He looks like he's not going to have to avoid everything. Fragile is not a word that comes to mind when you look at Jeff Sims. Now, the way he puts his feet in the ground to change direction and to get away from it, I'm going to tell you, he puts his, of all the guys in the room, even with some guys that move. Now, Casey can move. Logan can move. Chuba can move. None of them move as well as Jeff Sims. And Jeff Sims strikes me more as the RG3 type, bigger body than RG3, puts his feet in the ground the same way, and then less willing or less needing to avoid contact. Now, that's going to make some Husker fans wince, but he's the most physical of the quarterback group. And when he moves takes the snap, his ball handling, you can see him drop with some poise and presence, and then his ability to change direction and get up into throwing windows, and then even getting when things break down, which Husker fans, as much as we talk about offensive line questions, knowing that if he's fluid and agile, it's that much better for the offense. It looks really good. But he's got to learn the system, and he's got a lot of things that he's got to learn as well. Remember, as I preface this, there's no depth chart. So we're seeing all of them move together. So in tandem, it looks like a choreographed dance to watch all of these quarterbacks take snaps, a little outside zone read, ball handling drill, a little option route throw, something directly in their space. But then once they get into the real throwing, and Casey steps aside and Logan steps aside, then another thing happens. Another thing happens when they start throwing that ball they start throwing fade routes and post routes. Yeah, a little corner routes, a little different. We're going to talk about that because them other three dudes, they deserve a little hype too. Don't go anywhere. Locked On Huskers coming right back. Hey, gang, and again, thanks for hanging out with us and making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. And again, as we go through spring practice and we go through all of the new information, this is a new staff, this is a new roster. They got new numbers, got a new number system, got a new media energy behind it, and a head coach that is delivering information in full. As much as he can in full, and I repeat that, as much as he can in full, he's letting you know. Settle down a little bit on the expectation. Let me get to work. Let me coach and teach a little bit before we do that. We want to thank the folks once again for FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers happen every day. And it's right there, FanDuel.com/LockedOn for all the details. Go on in. Be smart. Be smart. Download the app. Quick payouts. It's safe. Your accounts are good. Handle your business. We were talking about a quarterback room that's full. It's full. There are 6 scholarship quarterbacks in that room. 7 if guys who are working. But Haarberg is the one that folks were talking about, and all of his athletic arrogance. And it's a good thing to watch him watch his form change into a mature college quarterback. Instead of a big high school quarterback, he's transforming into a full Division I quarterback. I'm not sure he's at Big Ten level yet, but the way he's moving around and the way he's operating within the drills that we've been allowed to see, a physical specimen, a talent. I mean, he's 6'5", 210 pounds, and he's carrying it a little different, and he's carrying it well. It's a mature 210 pounds. Instead of the 195 or the 200 that he came in at, this looks like, okay, he's starting to get some base in his body. And the arm talent was never an issue. Got a big arm. My question for Haarberg is going to be, one, how full is the room, right? How is he going to handle the competition? And this is a deep, full, long-running competition. This is not going anywhere. Like, they're not going to give him anything. And I didn't want to spend any of this episode talking about the possibility of transfer portal and the possibility of depth chart, because the depth chart doesn't exist and none of these guys have transferred yet. If any of that stuff happens or if they're moved to a different position, hey, we'll talk about that then. But for now, that's a talented young quarterback that checks a lot of boxes, and there's a bit of a Josh Allen vibe that he's athletic enough to put his feet in the ground and move around. But they'll get to the competition part. And that's when it'll get good. Because, in my mind, the quarterback that's popped the most, that when I watch them work together and you watch them all drop, plant the foot, and the ball comes off their hand at the same time, going the same distance, the quarterback in the room who may have the most arm talent is Richard Torres. Torres is the guy that when he grips and rips, it sounds like, oh, out of 6 balls leaving or 5 balls leaving at the same time, his is the one you hear. His gets there quicker. It almost comes off like a bit of, like, you see receivers and it's, oh, that's for me. Thank you very much, Mr. Torres. That's nice. Gets there early, gets there on time, gets there in the window they're expecting, and allows them to tuck and be physical and aggressive with their movement as soon as the ball's there. Now, I'm not calling him the best quarterback in the room, but when you're just talking about base level, get the ball out of your hand to a receiver in a catchable form, on time and on purpose, that Torres may be the most talented guy in the room. And at 6'4", 6'5", he's 6'4", 210. He's got the size. Now, he's going to mature because he's the youngest in the room. So he's got time. The question is, will he develop? And 2, does he have patience? Because this thing is going to take a while to play out. If you're a Husker fan, do not expect an answer on the quarterback room anytime soon, not even April 23rd. It's going to be a long haul. This is going to be one of those that you got to pay attention to. Why? Because that's the right way to do it. That is the right way to do it. That'll be it for Locked On Huskers today. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers number 1, your first watch and listen each and every single day. Your second should be Locked On College Basketball. Again, Andy and Isaac will take you through and give you all the insight that you need and want for college basketball, the Final Four. They can get you through men's, women's basketball as well, talking to coaches, analysts as well. It's all the good stuff. Make Locked On College Basketball your second watch each and every single day. You can find it on YouTube or however you consume your podcast. Business each and every day. We'll close with the 3 words we love so much. I appreciate y'all. Go Big Red.